Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we uncover the fascinating stories behind the ordinary things in your life. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Bella Sparkles 77. Great question, Bella. You asked, why are pencils yellow? We've all used those bright yellow pencils, but most of us have never stopped to think about it. So, why yellow? Is it tradition, marketing, or just a coincidence? Well, as always, the answer is more interesting than you'd expect. Stick around as we explore the royal origins, cultural connections, and genius marketing that turned the humble yellow pencil into a global icon. Right here on Explaining Everything. Let's rewind to the 1800s. Back then, pencils weren't exactly the yellow, shiny icons we know today. In fact, they were plain, unpainted, and looked more like tiny sticks you'd grab from a campfire than an instrument of creative genius. Pencil making was already a big deal by this time. But here's the thing. The quality of the graphite, the lead in pencils that's not actually lead, varied wildly. Some pencils were so bad that they'd crumble if you just looked at them wrong. Others, smooth as butter. The best graphite came from a specific mine in Borrowdale, England. For centuries, they had the good stuff, and the whole world knew it. But then, that mine ran dry. The pencil industry had to look elsewhere for high-quality graphite. That's where our story gets golden. By the late 1800s, a new heavyweight entered the ring: China. The Chinese discovered deposits of some of the world's finest graphite, and pencil makers around the globe were itching to get their hands on it. One of these pencil companies was based in Austria-Hungary. Yes, back when countries had hyphenated last names. They wanted to make a pencil so incredible that it screamed luxury from the moment you saw it. So, how do you make a pencil scream fancy? You paint it yellow. Here's why. Yellow, in Chinese culture, is the color of royalty, prestige, and everything expensive. For centuries, emperors wore yellow robes, and ordinary folks were basically banned from even thinking about wearing it. So by painting their pencils yellow, these Austro-Hungarian manufacturers were giving a massive nod to China's elite culture and the source of their top-notch graphite. And voila! The first iconic yellow pencil was born. It was called the Koh-i-Noor, named after the famous diamond, because of course they were going for maximum bling. Here's where it gets interesting. The yellow pencil wasn't just about being fancy. It was a marketing masterpiece. Think about it. Before this, pencils were dull, natural wood. But slap a bright yellow coat on them, and suddenly they stood out like a beacon of creativity in any stationery aisle. Or, wherever 19th century people bought pencils. Other companies quickly followed suit. Soon, yellow pencils became shorthand for high quality, almost like the designer handbag of the stationery world. If your pencil wasn't yellow, was it even good enough? By the early 20th century, yellow pencils were everywhere. The color became so synonymous with pencils that people stopped questioning it altogether. I mean, when's the last time you looked at a pencil and thought, why isn't this purple? Now, speaking of purple, why didn't pencils branch out into other colors? Well, they did. These days, you can find pencils in just about every color of the rainbow. But back in the day, yellow dominated because of two things: branding, and practicality. Yellow paint was durable, bright, and easy to spot in a drawer or on a desk. It was also associated with optimism, energy, and happiness. All the vibes you want when you're sitting down to sketch a masterpiece or, let's be honest, procrastinate your homework. It also helped that yellow pencils were easy to find if you dropped one in the middle of a cluttered workbench. Practical and stylish? Yellow pencils had it all. Since we're already on the topic, here's some bonus pencil trivia to dazzle your friends at your next party, or confuse them, depending on the vibe. The average pencil can draw a line 35 miles long. Yep, one little stick of graphite is basically a marathon in disguise. Pencils were used in space. Forget fancy astronaut pens. Pencils work just fine for writing in zero gravity, although, fun fact, they were banned for a while because the shavings could float around and mess with equipment. Who knew pencils could be so dangerous? Pencils aren't made of lead. Okay, you probably knew this one, but the name stuck because early graphite was often mistaken for actual lead. Good thing it's not, or we'd all be in trouble. Today, yellow pencils are still everywhere. Sure, they've got competition from mechanical pencils, tablets, and those pens that mysteriously vanish the moment you need them. But there's something timeless about the classic yellow pencil. It's a tool that's simple, reliable, and ready to help you jot down genius ideas or doodle cats in the margins of your notebook. So, the next time you grab a pencil, take a moment to appreciate the centuries of innovation, culture, and marketing savvy that brought it to your hand. And maybe, just maybe, you'll feel a little fancier writing with it. That's the story behind why pencils are yellow. Who knew such a simple object could have such a rich and royal history? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about. Here on Explaining Everything.